We are here with Maestro Thomas Crawford of the American Classical Orchestra. We are presenting the Bach St. John Passion at Alice Tully Hall on January 30th, 2025. So I have a couple questions for the maestro about the piece. Why should someone who may be new to listening to classical music come and see this performance? What does a potentially new listener or new fan of classical music experience from seeing Bach that they wouldn't necessarily experience from another composer?
Bach is the best composer, and so you might as well start with the top. I would say that Bach's technique, his writing technique, not just his style, which is what we call high Baroque, all contrapuntal, but his ability to get a text across. Text painting, we call it, where the words match how the music sounds or dovetails beautifully with the music itself, the words. Um, when you listen to Bach, when we have children listen to Bach, they they respond to the rhythms and the counterpoint, and they don't know when it was written. They don't care. So just as a musical um, entity, I mean, a creation, it's so glorious.
Yeah.
Another thing about Bach is that every human being has some sense of nobleness in them. You say, well, not my neighbor, not, not, I'm not, but no, like if you play Handel Chandos anthem for a group of children, they actually sit up in their chairs. There is regal music, and I think that Bach allows us to access all kinds of emotions that we have that we don't get to use very often, you know?
Last season, you performed the amazing Bach B minor Mass. This season, you're performing the St. John Passion. Compare those two performances. How do you approach them? Are they at all similar? Do you prepare differently? So, what's your process?
Yeah, well, they're similar in the forces. There's a large choir, there's a Baroque orchestra, there's an organ, a harpsichord. The instrumentation is similar. The B minor has an extra voice part, sometimes five parts, two sopranos, whereas the St. John stays in four parts. The St. John is better known, I think. I mean, people love the St. John. They Many people prefer it to the great St. Matthew. And to me, as far as comparing the two pieces, uh, everything of Bach's is at a level that's already higher. It just starts higher than any other music. And so both are just sweeping masterpieces that when I look at the score, this is my fourth performance. And when I look at the score, I can't believe what I'm seeing. How anyone could think of this. And as far as my approach as a conductor of it, the two pieces feel very different on one major way, which is that it's narrated. The St. John is narrated, and the Mass is not. It's just movement after movement, without comment, you might say. But the narration is almost everything in the St. John. Of the four Gospels, the John is more visceral, more in your face, somebody who actually knew Jesus. He's not talking about Jesus, he's with Jesus. And so you feel a tremendous immediacy. The story is being told by an evangelist.
Right. Do you see a difference in Bach's composition style? So we know for sure that the Passion was written for a particular event and a particular day and time, but it appears that the B minor Mass was almost like a compilation project by Bach or a career portfolio. So when you're preparing the score or looking at the scores for rehearsal purposes, do you see compositional differences?
Yes, there are differences. I mean, you can tell it's Bach again by the sheer brilliance, genius of it. For all sorts of reasons, the B minor is unique even in Bach's life. He had written four passions, not just the St. John and the St. Matthew. We have a couple that are lost, And they did a Passion every year at his church. A mass movement, which Bach also did write several masses, but the B minor mass is with full orchestra and major soloists. I mean, it's just a grand piece. Whereas the St. John was written in 1724 for Bach to perform it in Holy Week. He performed it on Good Friday. It was he had just joined the staff of St. Thomas Leipzig, major position in the Lutheran church music world, and so he wrote this fabulous Passion. Whereas the B minor Mass he wrote 25 years later, end of life sort of thing, and as his great kind of legacy, to be honest. And you feel that. I think the St. John comes across as quite immediate for an audience. They relate to the sad tunes, they relate to the triumphant choruses, and it's pretty much what you hear is what you get. This music is so ebullient, and it's just a total thrill.
Well, we invite everyone who is new and old to classical music to come out and see the Bach St. John Passion at Alice Tully Hall with Maestro Crawford and the American Classical Orchestra. Thank you.